Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos, and I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and breakup coach. You can change the language of this podcast in the YouTube video settings. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing this happens after months of no contact. The no contact rule, long game. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing this happens after months of no contact. The no contact rule, long game. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you will likely be in no contact. But how can you cope after months and months? In today's podcast, I'm discussing 3 things that will likely happen when you get into the long game of no contact. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is the balance of power changes. Now let me know in the comments how long you have been in no contact for. Let me know in the comments and let's see what the community thinks. And point number 1 is all about the balance of power changing. Now you as a dumpee, unfortunately, are likely feeling powerless. You are likely feeling as if your ex-dumper has everything going for them and you, unfortunately, do not. Now it is true when a breakup takes place that the dumper becomes the powerful person. Now that doesn't mean they are a better human being than you. It just means that in the dynamic of a relationship, your ex-dumper now holds the power. And we can look at that from the perspective of what they wanted, they got. And what you wanted, which was the relationship to continue, unfortunately, you didn't get what you wanted. And hence, we can see that your ex-dumper holds that power. Now, if you want to try to get your ex back, it's really important that we level the scales of value and we make sure that the power balance is much more even. Now, if you could have it in your favor, that could be even more helpful. But most relationships work best when the power dynamic and the value is somewhat similar. We need to balance it out. And hence, this is why we need to really emphasize point number 1, because if you get into the long game of no contact, the balance of power will change, and it will change in your favor. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that it will go all of the way to you, but it could. It will certainly start to even out. And the reason for this is because your ex-dumper is now going to have to come to the conclusion that you are not going to chase them. Now remember, we are talking about the long game of no contact. If you have implemented the no contact rule for a month or so, you are not in the long game of no contact. What I'm talking about here is months and months and months. Maybe you would start to see some benefit in this regard 3 months in, but I would suggest we're talking even longer than that, 6 months and beyond. If you have managed to maintain my version of the no contact rule, which somewhat differs to the other variants you can find online, so please check out my playlist on my YouTube channel entitled The No Contact Rule, so you can understand my specifics. But if you were to maintain that for months and months and months, your ex-dumper is going to start to realize that you are not chasing them. And if you are not chasing them, if you are not texting, calling, knocking on their door, then that means that you are not pushing them on that pedestal. And here is the paradox. Your ex-dumper doesn't want you to be contacting them. In fact, you as a dumpee probably heard your ex-dumper say to you at the time of a breakup or a little bit afterwards, I don't want you to contact me. I don't want to communicate. Maybe they even blocked you. So they are showing signs that they don't want to communicate. And yet, if you don't chase them, that is going to make them think twice. And it is a paradox, as I said, because they don't want you to chase, but they somewhat expect you to. And hence, if you don't do this, this is going to make them wonder whether you have found a better option in your life. Now, that might mean a new relationship partner, or it might just mean that they think, well, if my ex-dumpee is not chasing me, then what are they doing? And how do they value me? And how do they view me if they don't seem to need me anymore? Because they expect you to chase, even if consciously they don't actually want you to be bothering them. Remember, I said it is a paradox. It is something which is very confusing to get your head around. But as you can see, this is how the power shift can change. Because although they ended a relationship, if and when they realize that you are not going to be contacting them, that shock is going to start creating a scenario where they lose some of that power and it starts to drift to you. They expect you to chase them. And when those days turn into weeks, turn into months, there will come a point, and it will be different for every dumper, but there will come a stage where their shock really starts to make them wonder about you. And if that wondering about you starts to evolve into missing you, this is where you could really be on the right track to reconnecting. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please give this video a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is your chances of success alter. So we've already been discussing about when you get into the long game of no contact, your ex-dumper will start having to almost give up some of their power, and it will be moving towards you. And this is where we can start to see your chances of success altering. And I really want to make this podcast motivational, because at the end of the day, you as a dumpee don't have many options of what you can do regarding your ex. Most of you listening, and there may be a few exceptions here and there, but most of you listening right now are not in a position where you can keep reaching out to your ex. We've already said that they don't actively want you to. They might expect you to, but they don't want you to. And if you were to do so, you would likely be annoying them. Things are much more likely to go worse in that regard than get better. So the motivation I want to give you at this stage is you need to be looking at your best options. And your best option, most of the time, is going to be maintaining my version of a no contact rule, because it is much more likely to give you a greater chance of success. Because as that power starts to shift towards you, we can see how things develop and evolve so that they actually want to reconnect. Now, of course, this doesn't happen in every single instance. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, but a lot of the time, this will bring your ex-dumper to what we refer to as the crossroads, the moment where they really have to ask themselves, have I made the right decision? Okay, have I made the right decision? Because if I haven't, this is the moment I need to reach out. And this is the moment where they might. Now, I do have to be completely honest when we are speaking about long game no contact and say that there is, if we can imagine, almost a top of the hill, the brow of the hill of where we go up and up and up, and your ex-dumper is getting closer and closer and closer towards you. But unfortunately, if the long game of no contact goes too long, this is where your chances of success do start to come down the other side once more, and sadly, they start to lessen. Now, this doesn't mean you should be reaching out to your ex after a certain amount of time, because if they haven't reached out by that point, the likelihood is they haven't regrown enough romantic emotional attraction. And the good news is that even though from an average point of view, a statistical analysis point of view, your odds might start to lessen at a certain stage, there is always an opportunity that it could still happen. So from my research, the average amount of time that a dumper will reach out to a dumpee is 6 to 12 months after no contact has begun. Now, if you imagine a scenario where it is now 13, 14, 15, 16 months, that means that you are beyond the average. That means that we are now, unfortunately, starting to see your chances alter in a negative way. They've gone up and up and up, and now we're starting to go slightly down and down. However, I hear of people reconnecting beyond a year, time and time again. It's not that it can't happen, it's just that I hear of it less often than in that 6 to 12 month period. So the motivation I'm trying to give you here is, firstly, you have no real option regarding what you can do with your ex right now, but secondly, it is your best option. So when we consider what you could be doing and everything that comes with it, by maintaining my version of a no contact rule, we can see this as being the best chance you have of reconnecting. Because even if you don't get your ex back in that average amount of time, you might still do it. And if you don't, it's not because you didn't chase them. As I've already said, they would not often be happy if you did. So you've got to do this, you can do this, and I want to emphasize that fact that you've come so far, and hence you should keep going. And I know it's hard, I know it's tough, I understand the struggle you are going through, but just keep reminding yourself about your options. If you reach out to your ex, this is not going to increase your chance of success most of the time. Occasionally, you might get very, very lucky, but is it really worth the risk? That's what you've got to ask yourself. So believe in yourself, remember you've done so well, understand you've come so far, and you can keep going. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. This is the best and diamond level of support that I can provide. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is you are ready to win. Now, if you feel this podcast could help others, please share it in breakup communities, groups, and servers. We want everybody to stand that best chance of reconnecting. And you would be ready to win if you maintain my version of a no contact rule into the long game. So we've already spoken about how you, in essence, don't have a choice if you're trying to get your ex back, but there are actual benefits to you personally. If you consider how you felt as soon as the breakup took place, your mindset would have been all over the place. You would not have been in a good position to reconnect with your ex and maintain a new relationship, even if they'd got back to you very, very soon. If your ex-dumper reached out after 3 weeks, you would have been delighted. But have you really had the chance to grow and improve and become a version 2.0 of yourself? Have you really had opportunity to look in the mirror, take accountability, and make positive changes? Because even though I'm not saying you were completely to blame for the breakup, everybody makes mistakes, and you would certainly have at least had a part to play in this, if not a significant part. So there does need to be accountability, and there does need to be self-improvement, growth, and becoming that version 2.0 of you. Now, can you really do that when you've only had a few weeks to consider it? I would say not. It is only through the long game of no contact that you will come to the realization of where you are lacking and where you can improve. And not only that, you can start improving those instances. You can make those metrics the best they could be. So if you consider no contact is more about you rather than your ex, it really is win-win. Because even if you don't get your ex back, you will become a better version of yourself to attract even better partners than your ex was to you. So you could come out of this either by getting your ex back or alternatively finding someone even better. And if you say to yourself, well, I only want my ex and I only want my ex, well, okay, that is fine, but you've got to consider that firstly, we can't guarantee you'll get your ex back, but even if you did, if you haven't improved as a person, you will not maintain that new relationship. Because getting back together with your ex will be a brand new relationship built hopefully on stronger foundations, but only if you have both done the work. We can only control the controllables, and hence your job is to focus on you. You need to be a better person than they dumped. And if you aren't, then don't expect the new relationship with them to last very long. So look at no contact as an opportunity to get ready to win. We want you to win, we want you to succeed, and you're not likely to have made those changes in those early days, weeks, or even those early months. It's going to take that long game no contact for you to find what you need to do, to action what you need to do, and be the best version of yourself to attract more people, including your ex, and maintaining this new relationship forevermore.